Welcome back, Dog Nation. It is a rivalry week, and it's the Deep South's oldest rivalry. Lots to get into on this one today. I'm Keegan, my co-host is Chito. And you guys know what it is. This is Dogs Off the Leash. No matter how they're doing, no matter how we're doing, you cannot take Auburn lightly.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. It doesn't matter what time of the year we play Auburn. As a diehard Georgia fan, you get pumped for these games, sometimes just out of spite. Like, if you've been around long enough, you have gone through the Cam Newton era. You have gone through the Nick Fairley era. You remember Cadillac Williams and those boys way back in the early 2000s. This is just one of those teams that you love to hate. And this year, I think, is actually pretty cool as well because although Auburn's record, which you can always throw out of the window, 3-2, I believe, is where they stand, they have only lost 2 games on the road to 2 quality teams. And if I'm not mistaken, they lost at Oklahoma and at Texas A&M. And with some questionable calls in there, this is a team that we have to take seriously. And I think this is also the right time for Georgia to get them. Because you look at last year in 2024, we beat Auburn coming off that loss to Alabama, 31-13. We have this Kentucky game this year that's sandwiched in between the Alabama loss, but it's still the same type of vibe. We have that loss. We can kind of get that over with and through, and now we can focus on the rest of the season. And here comes Auburn again, ready to host the Bulldogs in Jordan-Hare, no less.
Hey, we're going to Auburn. It'll be Jordan-Hare at night, and I'm not saying that Georgia won't play up because it's a night game, because a lot of times we bring our special sauce too, right? And that's what you want to see out of this team. It is at least a recipe for Auburn to take advantage of home field, and hey, we're not going to be sleepy at noon yawning. So
a night game at Jordan-Hare absolutely terrifies me. This was one of those sneaky games that I had at the beginning of the season that we were going to have to look out for. But I did say to start the season, it was going to kind of depend, right? We got past Tennessee. I thought that was going to really help us against Alabama. We lost to Alabama, so I thought that was going to benefit us when it comes to Auburn. If we would have beat both Tennessee and Alabama and we're riding high, and everybody's picking Georgia and everybody's loving Georgia, this would have been a perfect scenario for Auburn to just unseat us and to just take that all away. But now I really think the Tennessee game, even in that win, you have film that's going to benefit you. And then Alabama, you've started to fix some of the things that you did. I give Bobo a lot of credit about how this offense is starting to find an identity. It's starting to understand what it needs to do in situational football, whether it's red zone, short yardage, using your tight ends against linebackers, using Cash Jones as a receiving back against linebackers again, pounding the rock, pulling it off reads, Gunner Stockton runs, Dillon Bell. We're starting to figure out what it is we want to do in different situations. And I think that now is the perfect opportunity against a team like Auburn, because what we're going to find out here in just a little bit, Auburn's defense is a mirror image of UGA's defense. They are stout against the run, just like we are. They can give up some explosives. And then we're going to have to talk about the line of scrimmage, because I think this entire game is going to revolve around the line of scrimmage, like a lot of SEC games tend to. And along with Jackson Arnold, one thing has been pretty obvious, and it's not the end of the world, but UGA hasn't really gotten as much pressure on quarterbacks as we would have liked to up to this point. When you have a dual threat quarterback, that makes it that much harder. He's going to extend plays with his legs, look downfield. That's going to put more pressure on the secondary, which is giving up explosives. And to your point, Keegan, both of these teams have stopped the run at a very, very, very high level. I think this game is going to come down to playmakers on both sides. For Auburn, that is Cam Coleman.
What was that guy's name from Tech that Auburn got? He tore us up.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the many playmakers that Auburn's going to be leaning on. That's Eric Singleton Jr. He is kind of that Dillon Bell for them, for lack of a better term. That Deebo Samuel, he's going to be getting a lot of the yak yards. He's explosive where it counts. And then you got Cam Coleman on the edge. So this game is going to come down to those playmakers. For us, Can Dillon Bell have another game? Can we see a little bit of Noah Thomas? Will it be a Kobe Young, or do we get the tight ends involved? So as stout as these defenses are on the line of scrimmage, the playmakers are going to be crucial when it comes to swinging momentum back and forth on Saturday.
Yeah, and to me, when you look at Auburn's defensive line, the most badass by far is Keldrick Falk. He's 6'6", 285. Dude moves with a quickness, kind of has that, I'd say, like, very graceful swan-type pass rush that can be explosive, just a very good mix of athletic traits. And outside of him, like you mentioned, the defensive line is stout, but what I watch on tape that really stands out is that Auburn's pass rush is super creative. Like how we're creative running the ball right now, Auburn's pass rush comes from all over the place. Like they really do a good job disguising it. And when you see guys on tape getting sacks, especially against Texas A&M, they were really taking advantage of Texas A&M with all sorts of different stunts, and the blitzes were coming from all over the place. So not only do they have some star power to lean on in the foundation of the rush, they have many different ways to get you. And I think that's where, if we are smart with the screen game and kind of do it in an offset manner, some of what we've been doing can set them up and just keep them at bay, keep them guessing, because they're going to bring the pressure against Gunner Stockton. And I don't think we need to just like play into their hand, stand back there, have Gunner looking like the Notre Dame game where it could be the perfect blueprint for Auburn if we wanted to just limit what we can do. But we have so many playmakers. So let's see Gunner throw it around, get that stat line nice and fat with all sorts of different dudes contributing to this team, and just give Gunner Stockton a chance to be himself, play within himself.
I wanted to make a comment on the defense part like you were talking about just then.
Yeah.
Even though that we have found something on the right guard and right tackle with both Gaston and Glover, this is going to be a challenge for these guys. Like you were saying, it is on the road. It is SEC play, but Auburn actually leads the SEC with 10 sacks. So that is going to be a huge challenge for these guys. This is not something that they've seen before and being thrust in the fire. So it is going to be incumbent on Georgia's offense to be creative, getting the ball out of Gunner's hands quickly, throwing it into the flats to tight ends, to running backs, whatever you have to do, and not putting yourself in those third and long situations. That is going to be absolutely crucial. And as far as the running backs go, I don't know if we're going to see Roderick Robinson. Right now, I feel like we're in a groove offensively, especially in the running back room. Chauncey Bowen's number one, Nate Frazier number two, McCray at the goal line, and then you've got Cash Jones as your receiving back on third down situations. So as much as I want to see Roderick Robinson, I don't think that's something that you just interject just because. We'll have to wait for an opportunity for his name to be called. It's kind of the vibe that I'm getting right now.
Okay, I feel you. I think I'm just optimistic because I like playing with him in the game, but one dude I definitely want to see hit the field more, just based on what he's done so far, is Josh McCray. Dude has basically just been unstoppable. He just keeps on moving forward. So he's good for eating up the clock, playing into the ball control that Georgia wants to see, and really taking the crowd out of it, ideally. Auburn's a dangerous team. Hugh Freeze is a great coach. He was able to beat Nick Saban many times at Ole Miss, and that was kind of, he was actually a pioneer of the NIL era. He was paying players long before they had structure to do so. And I think Auburn is happy to have a coach of his caliber. And he's probably navigated the NIL era pretty well. But I think it's like kind of funny, dude, because Hugh Freeze came into this rivalry as Auburn's coach acting like he didn't know who Georgia even was. Like he had to be told at a press conference when exactly it was Kirby went to a national title game. He didn't quite believe it. And at times he seemed a little bit tone deaf to the fan base at Auburn about this game mattering. But here's the thing. Out of the teams we do get to see again and are guaranteed opponents, at least for the next, 4 years, right? Auburn is one of them. So this rivalry is not going anywhere. And we've been pretty dominant of late. I think it's 8 in a row.
I know this series right now is definitely in Georgia's favor, 65-56-8. Couldn't tell you what the streak is, but it's up there.
I think the streak is about the difference between us and Auburn. And Kirby's been here 10 years. I think we're at 8 in a row. So, and hey, Auburn sucks. I like to ride in my truck. Chito, do we have you a score prediction?
So I've got some stats that I think are going to be crucial to this Auburn game. I talked about how they lead the SEC in sacks, but we've got to look at some of their games up to this point in the year, which tell a much, much different story. So this offensive line, which has been makeshift by every definition of the word, has allowed 21 sacks through 5 games. That is a staggering number. They've also given up 12 false starts and 6 holding penalties in 3 road games. So that is an area where Georgia can exploit this team. Again, our pass rush hasn't been amazing, but if it means Chris Cole's got to play on the edge all day long, then so be it, because this is an area that we can take advantage of and come away with the win if we can be successful at these few things. I talked about how Auburn's defense is a mirror image of UGA's. Just a quick breakdown of the rushing defense. UGA is giving up 2.6 yards per rush on the season. 3 rushing touchdowns and 82 yards per game. That is elite when it comes to rushing defense, no doubt about it. Auburn, on the other hand, is giving up 2.5 yards per rush, has given up only 2 rushing touchdowns, and is giving up 88 yards per game. So right lock and step with UGA. This is going to be a battle in the trenches, and Auburn is equipped to take this on. Points allowed by UGA is 32nd in the nation. Auburn, 25th. Dead even again. Now, where you start seeing some differences is during the third down conversion rates. Auburn is 3-28 on third down conversions in SEC play. They didn't even convert a third down against Texas A&M. We struggled against Alabama, but if we can get third down conversions and give ourselves opportunities to score, we can beat this team. And likewise, if we can keep them from converting, there is no chance that they can put up enough points to keep up with Georgia. So those are going to be the crucial keys to winning and losing these games. Do not forget those stats. And then lastly, Georgia's third down conversion rate is 42.7%, but Auburn's third down conversion defense is 26.8%. So opposing stats there. So that's going to be crucial. Can UGA convert, or will Auburn get off the field, stop us from kicking field goals, stop us from getting in the red zone, where UGA has been super efficient, especially last week against Kentucky. Going to be a matchup to watch, and it's going to be a really interesting game.
So earlier today, I did 5 simulations of Georgia at Auburn, 8 p.m. start time because 7:30 is not an option. And I hate to inform you guys that we lost 3 out of the 5 times. First time, 17-10. Next game, we won 34-7. Next game, we lost 27-6. Next time, we lost 10-7. Next time, we won 10-7. And the one thing I don't like about the simulations that I've been seeing is how defensive they kind of lean. So I added more time to the quarters to make it a little bit more realistic. And we still came up with low-scoring games. So I don't think there's a ton of weight in the simulations, but enough to mention it and enough to say that the simulations are trying to lead to this very defensive matchup. Will it go that way? And then, ironically, Georgia can blow them out. Auburn can whip us. I think we have enough weapons where if a team puts it together, sure, they could pull ahead. Like, both teams come equipped. Eric Singleton Jr., the leading receiver of the Hateful Eight. Cam Coleman, a dangerous deep threat. One of those guys is going to win against Georgia in this game. So Auburn has played 2 close matchups to what is currently top 10 opponents. Will they finish in the top 10? Maybe not, but as it stands right now, they have one of the better looking resumes in losses that you can have, given that they lost by a touchdown or less to both of those teams. And they played them fairly competitively where they had chances in the fourth quarter to go ahead. So I think Georgia will have moments of high contention, and Auburn's going to get the best of us at times, and Jackson Arnold's going to have his way with this defense at times. But give me Georgia with a pretty sizable victory after it's all said and done, winning 34-17, the weapons will just be too much for Auburn's defense. As long as we don't play pocket passing, sit back and wait for them to eat us alive, because they will.
I think this game's going to go a little bit similar to what you say it's going to go. I think it's going to be a defensive showdown. It's going to be a battle in the trenches. But from what I saw last week from Bobo, instead of us running right at this defense, I think that we have all the weapons to run around these guys, to run a lot of counters, to pull the ball with Gunner, to do a lot of play action out of that pistol to the tight ends and to one-on-one matchups on the outside. I'm going to go with a 27-17 win against Auburn. I think that UGA can control the time of possession long enough to keep Auburn's somewhat explosive at times offense on the side, take the crowd out of it really early, and have our way with them. I talked about how they struggle on third down. If we can keep them to 50%, under 50% converting third downs, it's going to go in our favor really, really quickly. So that's, again, that key that you're going to want to watch. But I think the Dogs have been tested with a loss against Alabama and the win at Tennessee. I think those two games really set you up for success against Auburn at Jordan-Hare.
It's the Deep South's oldest rivalry. A talented Auburn team coached by Mr. Hugh Freeze, a night game at Jordan-Hare. It's going to be a good one. We look forward to getting back with you for the Sunday Scary, and you guys know what it is.
If you're like me, you know this game reminds you or brings back memories of No Sean Marino, the blackout jerseys, all of those good memories and wins that we've had over this rivalry. So you guys make sure that you tap in with us, get locked in for this rivalry. As always, make sure that you follow us, whether it's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And as always, guys, you know what it is.
Off the leash.
Off the leash.
Do it for the dogs. Do it for the dogs. I do it for the dogs.